Hi, this is Mark Rabin from KaiNexus, and today we're joined by Barry O'Reilly, who's going to be. Hi, this is Mark Rabin from KaiNexus, and today we're joined by Barry O'Reilly, who's going to be giving a preview of a webinar that he will be presenting for us on March 6th at 1 o'clock Eastern. It's titled "Why Great Leaders Must Unlearn to Succeed in Today's Exponential World." And you can register for that by going to www.kainexus.com/webinars. Barry, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm great, and a pleasure to be here.
Can you take a minute to introduce yourself for the listeners, a little bit about your professional background and what you do?
Yeah, I've quite a varied background. I started off as a software engineer, working primarily in startups doing game development for mobile phones in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s. But over time, I got more interested in product development and started doing product management and developing and building new products and building new companies. I did that for a number of years and then started to move into consulting. I led consulting for a company called ThoughtWorks, which was one of the first sort of proponents of agile software development. I worked there for a little over 5 years, all over the world, coaching and helping large organizations or scaling of businesses start to apply agile and lean thinking in the way that they worked. And I was lucky enough as part of that to work with Jez Humble and Joanne Molesky and write a book called Lean Enterprise, which was a bit of a response after people had read Eric Ries's Lean Startup and were very interested in experimentation. They were sort of like, but we're not a startup. So when we're a larger organization or a growing organization, how do we adopt these ideas? So we wrote Lean Enterprise, and that was part of Eric's series. And that was a really great opportunity for me then to start working with more leaders who were interested in these ideas. And then on the back of that, what I found while helping these organizations introduce new practices, one of the big inhibitors was not necessarily helping people learn new things. It's difficult, but the actual biggest inhibitor was helping people unlearn their existing behavior. And that got me really excited about creating a system to help people continuously innovate and adapt their behavior to changing circumstances, both learn new things, but unlearn the things that were holding them back. And that's what I've written my new book on, and looking forward to sharing with your audience.
Yeah, and the book Unlearn, and the subtitle says to let go of past success to achieve extraordinary results. Just the other day I sent you something about NBA player Brook Lopez, who went, he was a 7-footer. He never took 3-point shots. He had a certain model, a style of play that made him millions and millions of dollars, but he had to let go of that past style of play and start learning how to shoot 3-pointers and sort of reinvented himself. I don't know, did that on the surface at least sound like a sports world parallel to having to let go of past success, to unlearn, to reinvent?
Well, I really enjoyed the article. Thanks for sharing it. And I think it's like what's very interesting about athletes, I think, as well, is the game that they're in changes, the style of play changes, but also, the physicality of their body changes and can deteriorate over time. So, they're constantly adapting and tweaking to try and find these outcomes of being a great player, a great team player, trying to score more points or win more titles or whatever that outcome or aspiration they have, and then constantly adapting their behaviors to achieve those outcomes. And one of the stories I share in the book is how Serena Williams has done that in her career. And the thing that's amazing about Serena, that is in the last sort of 5 years of her career, her win ratio is actually doubling. She's actually getting more successful in the last 5 years of her career than she was in the first 12 years of her career winning Grand Slams. So, which is phenomenal for someone who works, and operates in tennis, where I think the average age of a tennis player retiring is 27, and Serena's 38. So it's really interesting to see how people are are systematizing ways to continuously adapt their behaviors to changing circumstances and the things that might have made them successful in the past, figuring out how to know to let go of those. And that was a huge inspiration for me as I was working with a lot of these very senior executives and leaders in organizations that have to adapt to changing circumstances, both in the roles that they're taking on, that the competitive market that they're in, and the products they're trying to build. So I think this idea of recognizing when you need to unlearn is very powerful. But I think what's been super interesting for me is the other parts of the system, which is helping people relearn these new behaviors to figure out what behavior is going to work for them to ultimately get these breakthroughs that they're looking for in performance and behavior and thinking. And they're the kind of things I'm looking forward to sharing on our webinar in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, because there are a lot of great lessons. We probably won't have any professional athletes tuning in, but the lessons here, of course, are for entrepreneurs and executives and business leaders and so many different realms. And that's why I'm excited about the webinar. And again, it's going to be presented by Barry on March 6th. It's titled "Why Great Leaders Must Unlearn to Succeed in Today's Exponential World." And I do highly recommend Barry's book, Unlearn. So Barry, thanks in advance for doing the webinar. I'm really looking forward to it. And thanks for spending a few minutes with us today to give a bit of a preview. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.